Welcome to the Becoming Superhuman podcast, where we interview extraordinary people to bring you the skills and strategies to overcome the impossible. And now, here's your host, Jonathan Levy.
Before we get started, I want to ask you a question. Every single week, we bring you these episodes full of dozens of skills, habits, routines, and strategies to help you become more superhuman. Now, be honest. What percentage of those things are you actually able to implement in your life? Of course not. You need the accountability and community. And that's why in 2018, I launched the Becoming Superhuman Mastermind. Every month, as a community, we invite a world-renowned expert in to lead a 1-month challenge. Past challenges have included environmental design with Benjamin Hardy, hacking your sleep with Nick Littlehales, who is Cristiano Ronaldo's own sleep coach, and meditation with Muse founder Ariel Garten. On top of that, we send out a care package with all the gear and goodies you need to complete that month's challenge. And best of all, as a member, you get exclusive discounts to all kinds of events, courses, supplements, and gear. And those discounts alone are worth more than your entire membership. Look, as a listener of this podcast, we know that you stand to benefit a great deal from being in the group, but also that you stand to contribute a lot. And that's why we're offering 50% off your first month. To join, visit superhuman.blog/mastermind today. Greetings, super friends, and welcome to this week's episode. You guys, today we are joined by James Swanwick. He is a serial entrepreneur, Australian-American investor, speaker, former SportsCenter anchor on ESPN, host of the James Swanwick Show podcast, and the author of the 30-Day No Alcohol Challenge. Forbes listed James as one of the 25 professional networking experts to watch, but he is probably best known for his company, Swannies, or Swanwick Sleep, which produces blue blocking glasses. Now, the reason I wanted to have James on the show is not just because I use his product pretty much every night when I'm broadcasting or doing Facebook Lives in front of the screen at night, but also because he, like me, is an avid biohacker and has all kinds of thoughts on different ways to live better and feel better. So we talk about sleep, we talk about the benefits of letting go of alcohol, and we talk about all different kinds of habits to make you feel more superhuman. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I know you will as well. So please give a warm welcome to James Swanwick. Mr. James Swanwick, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing so well. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Hey, I wanted to thank you because I have been enjoying my Swannies. I know your company was very, very generous in giving a huge discount to all of our membership group mastermind members. And a lot of us, myself included, took advantage of that. And I'm usually on the broadcasts wearing my Swannies. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. I bet you look stylish in your pair of Swannies blue light blocking glasses as well, do you?
Oh, yeah. I call them my sexy man glasses because, well, most people don't get it. So, James, for those in our audience who aren't acquainted with you and your work, tell me a bit about yourself and your journey.
Yeah, well, I'm Australian-American. I live in Los Angeles. I grew up in Australia. I was a newspaper reporter for many years. From age 17 to 23, I moved over to London in my early 20s and was a sports journalist there. And then I fell in love with a British woman who dumped me and broke my heart. And so I was like, I think I want to leave this country, but I wasn't quite ready to go back to Australia. So I went over to the US, flew into Los Angeles in 2002 and turned myself into a journalist who interviewed movie stars for a while. I interviewed people like Jack Nicholson and Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie. I started a PR company on Sunset Boulevard in the late 2000s, but I lost that business during the financial crisis. And then I went away to Argentina for about 6 months to learn Spanish and kind of reset and lick my wounds from my failed business venture. And when I came back in 2010, I quit drinking and I landed my dream job hosting a TV show called SportsCenter on ESPN. And then when I quit that job, I went and started to try and be an entrepreneur again. And now I create health companies. I guess you could say I'm a healthpreneur in that I help people sleep better through my company, Swanwicks Sleep, which produces the blue light blocking glasses you just referenced. And then I also help people reduce or quit alcohol through my program, which is called 30-Day No Alcohol Challenge, and also another one called Project 90, specifically to help entrepreneurs and business professionals quit drinking. So my lifestyle is very much health. I'm very health conscious, health and wellness conscious, and I now create businesses based out of that health and wellness passion.
That's awesome. Now, I want to ask, because you would expect in that story, after interviewing 200 plus health experts, you would expect that there would be some moment where something happened and you realized the importance of health, and that's what made you so passionate about helping other people sleep better or give up alcohol. Was that the case for you?
Yeah, I was in Austin, Texas at the South by Southwest Festival in March of 2010. And I went to an industry party the night before, and I'd only had 2 drinks. I had 2 gin and tonics. And when I woke up in the morning, though, I felt just really average. I wouldn't say I had a hangover, but I just had that kind of like icky taste in my mouth from the 2 gins that I'd had. And I looked in the mirror and I looked tired. I looked weathered. I'd put on probably about 25 pounds over the course of 18 months. It just sort of like crept up on me. And I realized there that my drinking, I wasn't an alcoholic or anything. I was just a social drinker. But I realized that just a drink or 2 a night was making me make poor dietary choices. It was compromising my sleep quality. It was affecting my energy levels, my clarity, my focus, my ability to make strategic decisions. And so I just said to myself, you know what? I'm going to quit for 30 days and just see what happens. And so I did. I quit drinking for 30 days just as an experiment. And I ended up losing 13 pounds of fat. My skin got better. I slept better. I was more productive, more focused. I started attracting a higher caliber of person into my life. And it felt so good. I just kept on going. And I haven't touched a drop of alcohol since. It's been, 9 years now. And, that was really the moment for me. It was that morning of March 2010, looking in the mirror and just realizing that, even the seemingly innocent glass of wine at nighttime before I go to sleep was just, keeping me playing small, keeping me average, not rock bottom, but just like a 6 out of 10, just kind of phoning it in, doing okay. And that was really the moment for me where it all kind of turned around.
I found the same exact thing. And also not an alcoholic, but just realizing that alcohol was not in line with the way I wanted to live, the way I wanted to treat my body. So for me, it's been 3.5 years already without a sip.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I always want to say without a sip, but there was the one time 1.5 years in where I thought it was kombucha in the fridge and I took a big swig right out of the bottle and I was like, no, not a single sip. So one sip accidentally in the last 3.5 years.
Yeah. Congratulations. That's amazing. And what have you noticed has happened for you since you went alcohol free?
I think most people would think that I'm going to talk about the health benefits, but for me, it was more the social benefits that I learned how to take a genuine interest in people without alcohol. And I learned how to lower my inhibitions and be able to say and do the things that I wanted to do, to go up to the pretty girl without needing to have a couple drinks or without needing that plausible deniability. The downside of that, though, and I think this also comes with age, is sitting in a bar, which unfortunately is the way that a lot of people spend time with their friends, is excruciating for me because I have nothing to do. And staying up late, which many people use alcohol as a means to stay up later and have more fun, does not appeal to me anymore. And so therefore, I find that I go out a lot less and am just generally a little bit less social. So, I've had to really put in the effort to create social opportunities that are stimulating to me without alcohol.
Yeah. I actually found in the first few months that I went alcohol free, I lost my interest to go to bars, certainly. I mean, I still went out to restaurants and things like that, but it's not to say that I didn't go out to bars. I mean, I did go to bars with friends and they were drinking and I just wasn't. And I wouldn't say that it was boring. I mean, I just committed to having the most fun of anyone being alcohol free. Having said that, I don't really go to bars much anymore, but when I do, I remain alcohol free and I just commit to having the most fun, and I often do. I really just think it's a mindset, being alcohol free and having fun, because people think, oh, I'm quitting drinking. That must mean I'm depriving myself of something fun, as if this thing called alcohol is something fun. Society has essentially tricked us into thinking that poison, which is what alcohol is somehow pleasurable and fun. And it really isn't. It's just, we think it is because that's the way it's ingrained into our culture from as we grow up. It's kind of like, oh, when you're a man's son, you'll be able to drink beer. When you grow up, you'll be able to enjoy champagne or wine with the girls. It's ingrained in us from an early age, but it's actually kind of ridiculous when you think about it, because it's literally a poison that slows you down, makes you age quicker, compromises your sleep, compromises your relationships, inhibits your ability to be able to think strategically, slows down your metabolism, increases your fat storage capacity. And, oftentimes if you drink too much of it, it makes you do things that you don't want to do. So, yeah, I mean, even one seemingly innocent drink per night, you might think is not affecting you, but I just invite you to think about it. Like, if you have one drink, just one drink, one glass of wine at nighttime, then that is enough to compromise your sleep quality. And when your sleep quality is compromised and you don't sleep as well, you're slower, you're more lethargic, you have more visible signs of wrinkles and tiredness on your face. And it just has this spin-off effect where throughout the day, you're just not on top of your game.
I totally agree. And I often like to think about, because I think on some level, the desire to pursue altered states of consciousness is a deeply ingrained part of being human. It's why we like coffee. It's why people smoke marijuana. It's why we drink alcohol, and why alcohol is one of the most pervasive drugs in every society. But I think that there are better substances, right? There are substances that bring us together with other people. There are substances that are better for our bodies. I mean, arguably, caffeine is a drug that also makes you more social and more stimulated and more interested. So I often like to think about, one show and book that I like is The Man in the High Castle. It explores what the world would look like if the Allies had lost the war. And I was thinking it'd be a really interesting TV series if we were to imagine the world if alcohol and tobacco were the drugs that were illegal, and say marijuana and MDMA were the drugs that were socially acceptable. What would the world look like? Not that I'm a big proponent of using either regularly, but what would the world look like if those drugs were legal and alcohol and tobacco were illegal?
Yeah, that's a fascinating thing to think about, isn't it?
Totally.
I mean, I can just tell you how my world has been different from 9 years of not drinking. And remember, I was not an alcoholic. I was not even a problem drinker. I was just a socially acceptable drinker who had a drink or two a few nights a week during the week, and then a few more on the weekends. I rarely got drunk. Rarely. This is not a conversation really that is only relevant to people who are massive drinkers or alcoholics. No, this is a conversation to just the very casual drinker who thinks he or she enjoys a glass of nice white wine or red wine at the end of a day. Now, how did my life change? I'll tell you how my life changed. Because you use the example there, imagine what the world would look like if it was marijuana or MDMA. Well, here's how my world changed from simply eliminating alcohol. The moment I eliminated alcohol, I got the body that nature intended me to have. And what that means is that the weight just fell off me. All that fat that I was carrying just dropped off me. I started to look the way that nature intended me to look all along. I had the clarity and focus to go after my dream career, which was to host a television show, and landed a job hosting the most iconic sports news show in the world, SportsCenter on ESPN. I had the drive and the energy and the focus, because I was alcohol-free, because I was clear in mind, to create the 30-day no alcohol challenge program, which helps social drinkers quit drinking around the world, and then create this sleep company, Swanwick Sleep, which has now helped tens of thousands of people around the world sleep better. So those businesses have generated millions of dollars. So I went from being like someone who was in a job and having a boss to owning companies that generate millions of dollars and, living life on my own terms. And the type of conversations that I had went from being surface level and trivial to deep and meaningful. I went from having, acquaintances to having friends. I went from having friends to having loved ones. All from just like stopping putting a glass of poison into my mouth, a few nights a week. It's pretty insane when you think about it. And I can actually make a direct link that quitting drinking made me millions of dollars. And if you're listening to this now, let's just say that you're in a job and you make, let's just say you make $50,000 a year with your current drinking habits, which might be just a drink or two a week. Let's just say that you consider yourself to be operating at about a 7 out of 10 in your effectiveness because of your drinking, right? So you drink, you live life, you're about a 7 out of 10. That's not bad. That's pretty good. That's all right. Now imagine if you were living at a 9 out of 10 with clarity, focus, productivity, energy, drive, getting things done. How much more money would you make in your job from a promotion or a raise if you're operating at a 9 out of 10? Would you jump to say 70 grand a year, 75, 80? Let's just say 70. So the difference between operating at a 7 out of 10 and a 9 out of 10 is $20,000. So guess what? Your current drinking habits is costing you $20,000 a year in lost income.
Plus whatever you're spending on alcohol, which isn't cheap.
Plus whatever you're spending on alcohol. I actually think that the money that you spend on alcohol is largely insignificant compared to the money that you are not making from being alcohol free. Because $20,000 is no joke. 20 grand in this example. But for me, I was someone that was always making, for many years I made around $100,000. Later years I made it, some more on that. Now I have businesses that generate millions of dollars. And I credit it just from being clear in mind from being alcohol free. I'm having an event in Venice Beach, March 22, 23, called the Alcohol Free Wellness Weekend. And I'm going to be doing all the people who attend there, I'm going to be doing this thing called the alcohol calculator, where we're all going to figure out what our drinking is actually costing us. And it's not the money that you spend on the alcohol, it's the money that you're not making from drinking alcohol. So I'm going to be so curious. We're going to have 100 people all figuring out what their number is at that event.
Very cool. And yeah, it's funny. My income also dramatically increased when I cut alcohol. And I don't think that that's a coincidence. James, talk to me about sleep. What sparked your passion for sleep, and when did you realize that there was a need?
Yeah, my sleep was always okay. Probably like a 7 out of 10. I'd sleep 7 or 8 hours, but often I'd wake up still feeling tired or lethargic. Sometimes I'd have trouble getting to sleep. Sometimes I'd toss and turn in the night, but it wasn't a disaster or anything. It was just like, I think my sleep's all right, but, could probably improve. And then I was out at dinner one night with a friend of mine who was wearing a really ugly pair of orange glasses. And there was a table of very attractive women adjacent to our table. And they were looking at my friend wearing these kind of like orange safety goggles almost. And I said to my friend, "You look ridiculous, and you're making me look ridiculous by association." And he said, "No, man, I'm trying to block the blue light." And I said, "Block the blue light? What are you talking about?" And he said that at nighttime, when we're exposed to artificial light from light bulbs or from our TV screen or computer screen or our iPhones or Androids, that light tricks our body and brain into thinking that it's daytime. And so we do not produce as much melatonin, therefore we don't sleep as well. And so I was like, yeah, but the only problem is you got to wear these ugly glasses and look like a meth chemist in order to block the blue light. And so I just decided I was going to create a really stylish pair of blue light blocking glasses, because the ones on the market at the time, like I said before, that they made you look like a meth chemist, or they were the kind of glasses that you might wear if you were gardening around your home trying to protect your eyes from flying shrapnel, or if you were going to a gun range, for example, and they gave you that orange safety protective gear. And now I'm just vain enough that I wanted to look good while protecting my eyes from the blue light. And so that's why I produced a stylish pair of blue light blocking glasses called Swannies, which you said earlier that you're now wearing, and which, tens of thousands of people around the world now wear. And that was really my foray into the sleep world. I mean, I wanted to sleep better. And then as soon as I started wearing blue light blocking glasses, I did sleep better. And then from there, it was like, you know what? I've got to make it where health meets style. If I can get people to want to wear these glasses every night, then they're going to sleep better every night versus, here's an ugly pair of glasses, which no one's going to be motivated enough to wear consistently. They might wear them once a week in the privacy of their own home, but they're certainly not going to wear them out in public at nighttime. They're not going to feel enthusiastic to wear them. So that's where the idea came from. That's how I created it. And now it's turned into a bit of a movement now, people wearing their Swannies all over the world.
Very, very cool. And is there anything special about the lenses, or it's really just about blocking the blue light? I mean, what's the magic?
Yeah, so what happens is that blue light from your phone and your screens and your light bulbs, it stimulates your pituitary and pineal glands. And when your pituitary and pineal glands are stimulated, it suppresses your melatonin production. Now, blue is the exact opposite of the color orange. So an orange lens, blue light cannot penetrate an orange lens. The spectrum of blue light that is responsible for disrupting your melatonin production is between 450 and 500 nanometers of blue light. And our lens in the Swannies blue light blocking glasses specifically block up to 520 nanometers of blue light. So we make sure that we block more than is required to make sure that spectrum of blue light does not get into your eyes and therefore compromise your sleep quality. So there are other blue light blocking glasses on the market, and you'll see a lot of glasses out there that have an amber lens or a clear lens, and they say blue light blocking glasses. Now, while it's true that they are blue light blocking glasses because they block some of the blue light, if it's a clear lens, it cannot block enough blue light that is responsible for messing with your sleep. The only way to block enough blue light of the blue light spectrum so your sleep can improve is to wear a pair of blue light blocking glasses with an orange lens. An amber or yellow lens will not do it. Only an orange lens will do it. Now, the amber and the yellow lens will help throughout the daytime if you're on a computer screen, because it'll filter a lot of that blue light. So that can reduce eye strain and headaches as you're working on a computer. But for sleep purposes, if we're just talking about sleep, the only way that you can improve your sleep by blocking blue light is to wear a pair of glasses with a strictly orange lens.
That's interesting because I have noticed, we don't get a lot of good shipping options here in Israel. And, I have to kind of rely on what I can get on AliExpress or what ships on Amazon. But when I did get the Swannies, I did notice a difference from the amber junk that I was using before, for sure.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. I mean, it's just the laws of the universe. Whoever you believe in upstairs, God, or whoever your higher power is, he or she created the universe as we know it. And in the known universe, the only way to improve your sleep from wearing blue light blocking glasses is with an orange lens that blocks up to 500 nanometers of the blue light spectrum. So any other brand out there that's claiming sleep benefits from a yellow lens, amber lens, or a clear lens, it's a physical impossibility.
And if people want to check out, by the way, we will provide a link in the show notes to the exact pair that I've been wearing so people can check those out and pick up a pair if they want to improve their sleep. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, since you're clearly passionate about health hacks and improvements, what are some of the other things that you do, your daily kind of skills, habits, or routines that help you perform at a higher level outside of staying away from alcohol and wearing Swannies?
Yeah, well, a big component of increasing my all-round contentment levels and increasing my happiness, if you will, is in the mornings now, I have one rule, and that is I'm not allowed to turn on my phone until I have completed writing down 20 things that I'm grateful for. And 20 things seems like a lot, right? It sounds like a lot. And it is. But what 20 things does is that it activates this thing in your brain called your reticular activating system, otherwise known as your RAS. And your RAS searches for things that you're thinking about. So if you think that everything's doom and gloom, your RAS will look for things that are doom and gloom, and you'll continue to live a life of doom and gloom. If your RAS is searching for evidence that life is good and always working in your favor, then you will find things that proves that life is good and that life is working in your favor. So when I sit down each morning and I write 20 things that I'm grateful for, I'm really exercising my RAS. I'm wanting to just constantly be telling it, life is good, there's lots to be grateful for, I'm healthy, I had a good time with my friend yesterday, I rode my bicycle in the sun, that meal I ate last night was delicious, I made progress in my business, I got interviewed on Jonathan's podcast today, people are interested in what I have to say. I help people quit drinking and sleep better. I really liked the hug that I got yesterday, et cetera, et cetera. Like all of these little things that I write down each day about what I'm grateful for, that's exercising my RAS, my reticular activating system. And so now when I go about my day, if an obstacle comes in my way, now I'm like, instead of saying, oh my God, there's an obstacle, disaster, now I'm like, that's interesting. I get to solve this. I get to fix this. This is great. How am I going to do this? And now all of a sudden I start moving through life looking at, seemingly difficult problems as solutions. I start looking at the trees and the birds and the sun and the food and the water that I drink, and I start being appreciative of it. And my happiness level just naturally increases. And even if your happiness level doesn't naturally increase, your stress and anxiety goes down. At the very least, your stress and anxiety diminishes. So for me, first thing in the morning, making sure that I wake up to a portable alarm and not the alarm in my phone, so I don't put my hand on my phone in the morning, and ensuring that the only time I put my hand on my phone in the morning is after I have sat down and written 20 things I'm grateful for. Doing that thing alone has had an exponential boost, or created an exponential boost in my all-round satisfaction and happiness level.
That's another thing that I've also experienced recently is I started journaling for the first time in my life after Benjamin Hardy led a challenge for our mastermind group, and journaling was one of the challenges, one of the components. And I'm only doing 3 gratitude things, but I think I'm going to start taking on more, because you're right. And I've, as someone who specializes in learning, I've learned about the reticular activating system. And you're so right, is actually priming your brain to think of as many as you possibly can, because it's too easy to think of 3 when you're as blessed as you and I are.
Yeah, well said. And people often ask me, it's like, oh, can you just repeat the same things? Like, don't you run out of things to be grateful for? And the answer is, yes, you can repeat things, and no, you never run out of things to be grateful for. I mean, people think that you do, but it's amazing if you just the whole point of the exercise is to find it challenging to come up with things that you're grateful for, because now you're thinking, it's forcing you to think about things that are working in your favor. That's actually the whole point of the RAS, of reticular activating system. You're working that muscle to seek things that are in your favor. It's had a profound impact on my life.
That's fantastic. So I guess I'll ask, what are some other things, since that's the first 10 minutes of your day, what are some other skills or habits that you do throughout the rest of your day?
Well, this is going to sound too simplistic, that I shouldn't even mention it, but I make my bed first thing in the morning. And the reason is the studies have shown that if you have a visually appealing room and your apartment or your home or your house looks in order, then your mind is in order. Your mind becomes laser focused and you get a lot more done. There's a very famous YouTube video from a former Navy SEAL who gave a speech at a University of Texas graduation evening where he talked about the secret to success is to make your bed first thing in the morning. And people started laughing as he said this, but then they soon realized that he was serious. So making your bed and having that visual reminder in the morning is super important. Exposing yourself to morning sunlight as early as you can in the morning will help you sleep better later at night. When the sunlight hits your skin, which has receptors in it, it tells your body's internal clock, which is called your circadian rhythm, that it's daytime. And so that will ultimately help your body produce melatonin at nighttime. So first thing in the morning, expose yourself to as much natural sunlight as possible. Studies have shown that if you exercise in the morning, you sleep better. And they think this is because people who exercise in the morning tend to do it with greater regularity than those who don't. And also, you want to sleep in a cool temperature between 65 and 69 degrees Celsius for optimal sleep. And if you're exercising very close to nighttime, your core body temperature increases, which compromises your sleep quality. Eating style, I like to eat the paleo lifestyle, which means I eat a lot of lean meats and vegetables. I try to avoid, white breads or most breads, rice, pasta, avoid processed food. I mean, I think it's pretty simple. I just, eat good quality meat, chicken, fish, and good quality vegetables, and I'm good to go. And then drinking lots of water. And I know it sounds obvious, but, you should drink just as much water as you can. And if you're stuck, the best bottled water in terms of plastic bottled water, people tend to say that Fiji is the best. It has less, the plastics leak into it apparently. So if you're at you're stuck and you're going to a 7-Eleven and you're thinking, what water do I buy here? Then Fiji water tends to be renowned as the best in terms of the plastic bottled one. Spring water that's bottled in glass is really the Rolls Royce of water.
I love that. That's a tip that I haven't heard before. Now, tell me about some products or services that you could simply not live without.
I'm definitely going to mention my own product, if I may, which is the Swannies blue light blocking glasses, just as one of them, because, wearing blue light blocking glasses, whether it's my product or not, at nighttime, it will have a profound impact on your sleep quality. And if you can sleep better, your whole life will be better. So for sure, whether you buy a pair of Swannies, whether you get some other pair, just get a pair and start practicing wearing these things. You don't go to sleep with them. You wear them in the last 30 minutes to an hour before sleep. You remove them just before sleep. Just get a pair of those because that will certainly improve your sleep and improve your life. I definitely take fish oil. I take a fish oil supplement each morning. I have 1,200 milligrams of fish oil at least. It's a great source of omega-3s and omega-6s. It's really, really good for you. It helps reduce inflammation in the body. I have a Kerrygold grass-fed butter. Sometimes, occasionally, I'll drink coffee and I'll do it kind of like bulletproof style, if you like, where I'll put some of that grass-fed butter. Now, if it's not grass-fed, then it's not good for you. But grass-fed butter is a very good source of good fat for you. And when it comes to eggs, pasture-raised eggs, so eggs that came from hens or chickens that were raised on grass and bugs and not given specifically made feed for themselves, those eggs are of much higher quality than any kind of eggs that you got from caged hens or caged chickens. And then let's see other products. I think they're the main ones, really. I mean, my sleep company, Swanwick Sleep, we produce a 100% pure silk eye mask, which I wear each night to block out a lot of the light that can come through, which can disrupt my sleep. So a good quality eye mask like mine from Swanwick Sleep is great. And then I think what I was mentioning before in terms of sleep and sleep products, there's There's a company called Oura, O-U-R-A, and you can wear an Oura ring, which can track your sleep quality. You can wear it to bed and you can wake up in the morning. It kind of, tells you a little bit about your sleep. And then you can test, I didn't wear my Swannies glasses tonight. Let's see how my sleep is. Then the next night you wear your glasses and then you can test your sleep quality again as well. So it's just kind of a cool device that can show you how well or how not well you're sleeping.
Yeah, mine's actually in the mail. They don't ship to Israel, but I have one on the way to me via, next time I go to the US. So I'm pretty excited to try out the Oura Ring. Now, before I let you go, James, I want to ask, can you think of some homework that people can do this week while they wait for next week's episode to really implement some of the things that they've learned here today?
Yeah, well, here's a gold standard day in the life. Wake up in the morning to a portable alarm clock, not an alarm that's in your phone. Get up, write down 20 things you're grateful for, go outside, expose your face and arms and legs to sunlight, to natural sunlight, do some exercise. Go about your day, go to your job, go and work, do business, etc. Have your last coffee before 2 p.m. because coffee is a stimulant and it'll compromise your sleep. So don't drink coffee after 2 p.m. Don't drink alcohol at nighttime. About an hour before you want to go to sleep, put on a pair of blue light blocking glasses to block the artificial blue light. Sleep in a room that's between 65 and 69 degrees Celsius. Put on a Swanwick sleep eye mask. Block the light from outside with some dark curtains and go to sleep and rinse and repeat. And I think if you do that, that's like the basic. That's like a gold standard day. And, it's close to the way that nature intended us to live in the first place anyway, which is sleep well, expose yourself to sunlight during the day, block as much light as possible at night, be grateful, and, be active. And I think if you can do that, consistently throughout your lifetime, you'll live a pretty good life.
That's fantastic. Fantastic recommendation for folks. Now, before I let you go here, James, I want to ask you, where do we send people? We'll be obviously putting links to all the different products, but where should people go to learn more about you and everything that you're doing?
Yeah, thank you. If you're interested in learning about sleep and the Swannies blue light blocking glasses, you can go to swanwicksleep.com, SWANWICK sleep.com. If you're interested in reducing or quitting alcohol, you can go to 30daynoalcoholchallenge.com. If you're an entrepreneur or business professional wanting to quit drinking for at least 90 days, you can go to jamesswanwick.com/project90. And if you're listening to this before March 22, 23, if you'd like to come to Venice Beach, California to the James Swanwick Alcohol-Free Wellness Weekend, we'll have amazing speakers and doing some beach dancing and meditation and yoga and hiking and things like that. You can go to jamesswanwick.com/live event. And then just follow me on Instagram. Send me a DM. I'd love to hear from you. Tell me that you heard me on Jonathan's show. And you can find me at James Swanwick.
Awesome. And final question here before we let you go. If people remember one message from this episode and they carry it with them for the rest of their lives, what would you hope for that to be?
Block blue light, reduce or quit alcohol, live better.
James, thanks so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it and I had a great time.
Thank you so much for having me, Jonathan. Me too.
All right. You take care. Let's keep in touch.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate you having me.
All right, Super Friends, that is all we have for you today, but I hope you guys really enjoyed the show and I hope you learned a ton of actionable information, tips, advice that will help you go out there and overcome the impossible. If you've enjoyed the show, please take a moment to leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher or drop us a quick little note on the Twitter machine at GoSuperHuman. Also, if you have any ideas for anyone out there who you would love to see on the show, we always love to hear your recommendations. You can submit on our website or you can just drop us an email and let us know. That's all for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in to the Becoming Superhuman podcast. For more great skills and strategies, or for links to any of the resources mentioned in this episode, visit www.becomingasuperhuman.com/podcast. We'll see you next time.